Hey, Tony Gaskins here, popping in. Now listen, I just was on Instagram and seen the video about the guy, Brother Polite, and I seen this gentleman a long time ago, and I heard him speak like little snippets, and it was some things that let me know that he wasn't a Christian and that he wasn't really religious, and that he was, then it kind of had like this God complex that was like, like he felt like he was the smartest, one of the smartest guys in the world. And I agreed. I'm like, man, he has a lot of knowledge. He's well spoken. He probably has read some or read a lot, and he's searching. Anytime somebody doesn't like believe in God or believe Christianity is a white man's religion, it already lets me know that they're searching. And I can't, be mad at them or hate them or anything like that. It just lets me know they're searching. But this is what I talk about all the time when I try to tell y'all the difference. And this is also why I don't collaborate very often. Like, if I collaborate, I have to meet somebody in person. I gotta feel their spirit, spend a little time with them. 9 out of 10 times for me to collaborate. Now, I've been on a part of events where they had other speakers, and I'm pretty much, I don't really do that either. Sometimes I'll do it, and it's just exceptions to the rule, but it's very rare that I do it. Majority of the time I turn them down. And this is the very reason, is because, like, let's say this brother, let's say I seen where his mind was, and I say, man, hey, you read a lot, you got a strong opinion, let's talk about this. Now, the Bible tells us not to debate and stuff like that about God and argue about God, go back and forth. But let's say I say, hey, let's talk about this. Let's have a conversation across the aisle. And let's say, just like I know from this video, people gonna say, oh, Tony, I have never heard of this guy. And if you ain't heard of him, don't go look him up. Or I guess you could look him up, it don't really matter. But because it sounds like he about to take a sentence. He pleaded to take a sentence for molesting a 14-year-old girl. And this is what I try to tell y'all about. And this is why I try to tell you, you got to be careful with who you follow online. You got to be careful with who you listen to. You got to be very careful. And see, the thing about it is I don't call people out, and I don't really talk on people until, it's a done deal. I don't like to come out and make predictions on people, but I don't talk on people till it's a done deal. And even with then, I don't gloat about it or wish them bad or anything like that, because I wish the brother didn't have to go through this. I wish that he would have made a different choice. I wish that he knew Christ. I wish he knew Christ. Because I know Christ, that's why I have the strength and the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding and the wherewithal to not do what he did. Had I not known Christ, I probably could have done the same thing that he did. And to be honest with you, any man could do the same thing that he did. Now, this is very real for a lot of women to hear, because a lot of women don't realize that the nature of men, and that's why I tell women all the time. That's why I tell women to be safe. Yes, there's guys with self-control. Yeah, there's plenty of guys with self-control. There's plenty of guys with a good heart, with a good mind. It's plenty. But to be safe, because you could never tell. You could never tell. We can't even tell. As men, we can't even tell. So when the brother with the muscles, the relationship coach with the muscles, when he came out and he was doing what he was doing, when he came out, he used to call people out. So he kept calling people out. I remember when the pastor got into something, he called the pastor out. And he would call people out. So I'm like, okay, he calling people out about cheating. And y'all ask me, y'all tell me this right here. Now y'all see here this old skincare. Did my 3-4 step skincare routine this morning. But y'all tell me if y'all think I ought to accept a partnership with a men's skincare line. And if y'all will buy that, if you're a man. But if you're a woman, if you'll buy it for your son or your father, your brother, you might even want to try it for yourself, because it's made healthy. It ain't like it's made for sandpaper face. But y'all tell me if y'all will support that, because I got a offer that I'm considering at this very time. And so y'all let me know. So when the brother was coming out and he mentioning, oh, such and such cheated, such and such did this and that, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, well, he got to be living right, because if he doing all that talking, he living right in a mug, because ain't no way in the world you finna be doing all that talking and calling people out if you ain't doing right. And so that's how I can have the confidence to speak on Brother Polite, because I know I'm living right. And if I was to start living wrong, I wouldn't be online making videos. Now, y'all always talking about a narcissist, and I always tell y'all I don't know what no narcissist is. But if anything, a narcissist is somebody who ain't living right, but yet running their mouth. Because I definitely will be quiet as a church mouse. You hear me? And so here we have this here situation where the brother was calling people out. He calling people out. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, okay, well, he living right. Y'all got to forgive him, about to walk past this lawnmower, be a little quiet. Y'all give him a little second here. So he calling people out. So I'm like, oh, I know he living right. So I started to believe, buddy, and this me as a man with wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and discretion. The gentleman with the muscles, he really had me sold. Because I'm like, ain't no way in the world that you ain't living right if ain't nowhere in the world you not living right and you talking about what somebody else got going on. That blowed me. That really blowed me. And that's honestly when he had done sold me. So that's why I try to say it is extremely hard. It's extremely hard for y'all to be able to know who living right and who ain't. It's extremely hard. Y'all forgive me, I have to sweep up in my office. Y'all forgive me. Sweep up when I come in here, cause it be little bitty ants that come from up under the door from outside. Be in here, cause I sprayed this spray to catch them. That be little bitty ants that slip under the door. So I say, you got to be living right to be talking cash noise. And this is what I try to tell you. That's why you have to have discernment, and you cannot. That's why I try to tell y'all too. That's why I tell y'all all the time. Don't try to praise me. Don't praise me. Praise God. Because Because you don't know how I'm living other than what I'm telling you. You don't know how I'm living. So I tell you, don't praise me. Praise God. And so here the brother was with all this knowledge. All this knowledge. He had so much to say. He just had all the answers. And then here you go. Here you go. But that's what happened when we get conceited in our own wisdom. That's what happened when we feel like, and oh, another thing, y'all, these hats, I ain't got no hairline. Well, my hairline struggling today. These hats are my wife hats. This her little hat collection. She be finding. People be mentioning stuff anytime I have on one of these trucker hats. Be like, oh, Tony, I like that hat. It's all my wife hats. I be wearing my wife hats when that hairline struggling. And so when we get conceited in our own wisdom, that's what happened. We get beside ourselves. We get beside ourselves. And when you don't have a relationship with Christ, see what Christ stand on is responsibility, purity, righteousness, self-love. So what a lot of people don't understand is these men that's talking about finances and that's talking about the universe and talking about black and white dynamics and systemic racism and all of that, when you just focus on that stuff and you don't focus on purity, when you don't focus on promoting marriage, then that's when the devil could slip in and say, oh, okay, you talking about this, that, and the third, and the fourth, but you ain't talking about faithfulness. You ain't talking about purity. You ain't talking about godliness. You ain't talking about that. So since you ain't talking about that, that's where the adversary slip in at. He slip in and he get you because you're slipping. He catch you slipping. So I want you to understand, to every man who hear this, make sure you focus on purity. Make sure you are focused on being a man in the dark when no one is looking. Make sure that your focus is more on how you live when no one is looking than being so worried about being famous, about being so worried about being rich. Instead of worrying about riches, worry about righteousness. And when you start to worry about righteousness, now you onto something. Now you on something. Now you can get something done. Y'all little old vibe board. Vibe, send me a chat now. Now you could get something done. So think about this now. And I want you to process and really process and understand that everybody ain't living right and doing the right thing now. Everybody ain't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Y'all gotta forgive me, I'm trying to got to wash my hands because I'm about to eat. Everybody ain't living right and doing what they're supposed to be doing. And this is another thing I want men to get. Get cleanliness. You see how I'm on this here video and still thought to wash my hands before I put my hands in my mouth. Before I eat this food my wife got me. And I go to the airport and grown stinking, this thing upsets me. This thing ticked me off. Grown stinking musky men don't even be flushing the toilet.
Don't flush the toilet. We'll have diarrhea in the toilet and leave it in the toilet. All kind of boo-boo, pee, tissue. And it's like, just flush the toilet. I'm going to write a book called Flush the Toilet. And it's just going to talk about decency and chivalry and peace of mind. Not even that, but cleanliness, purity, righteousness. Flush the toilet. Flush the toilet. Listen, as men, we have to pursue purity. We gotta pursue purity. I'm finna get off here and I'm finna shoot me another video about this on Instagram live and put it on TikTok too, because I'm finna be pushing purity amongst men. So, hey, this Tony Gaskins, God bless you. I got to go. This Saturday is the virtual conference called the Fourth Quarter Conference. It's at 7 p.m. I'd rather you not have no alcohol, no wine, but if you know how to handle your drink, okay. And Jesus turned water into wine, but that was a wedding. We at a conference, so get you some good water, get some popcorn, some snacks. We're gonna go from 7 p.m. no later than midnight, but it's a we talking and we getting ready for this fourth quarter to finish strong and to roll on into next year. So when you go to TonyGaskins.academy.com, you will see it on there. You will see the fourth quarter conference. Let me double check. Now, next week in Atlanta, I'm about to close that one, that meetup, because I think we done sold out on that. So I'm about to close the meetup for Atlanta. But next thing we got is the conference. So y'all make sure, grab your seat, meet some like-minded people, come on in and join us. And I'm about to get on this here good Instagram and get my old video up. But God bless you. We'll talk soon.